The first thing you need to know is that almost everyone misses these cars. Most people chase the flashy new models, the ones splashed across Instagram, the ones everyone talks about in car groups, but there's a hidden world where some of the most expensive, most luxurious sedans lost almost everything in value. Imagine paying $100,000 for a car, and a few years later, seeing it sell for barely $8,000. It sounds crazy, almost unreal, but it happened. And the reason is both fascinating and a little shocking. Today, we're diving into 3 luxury sedans that everyone ignored, overlooked, and underestimated. Yet their depreciation turned them into true gold mines for those who dared to notice. You might think luxury cars always hold some prestige, some stable value, but the truth is far more brutal. And by the end of this video, you're going to see why these models fell so far and why they could now be the smartest buys you've never heard of. The first car on our list is the 2014 BMW 7 Series. At launch, it was the pinnacle of German engineering, a sedan loaded with cutting-edge technology, a V8 engine that purred like silk, and interiors so plush they made you feel like royalty. Yet, fast forward 8 years, and the market almost completely abandoned it. The resale value plummeted to roughly 10% of its original price, leaving many owners shocked and even dealers puzzled. The reason wasn't just depreciation, it was the complexity of the car. The electronics were so advanced that repairs were expensive and tricky, and while these features wowed early buyers, they became a nightmare for anyone trying to maintain one. What's even more interesting is that while everyone turned away from the 7 Series fearing high maintenance costs, savvy buyers swooped in and got nearly new luxury sedans for a fraction of their original price. The second model is the 2013 Jaguar XJ. Jaguar has always been known for style and performance, but this particular XJ had something unique, a design that screamed modern elegance, a cabin wrapped in leather and real wood, and engines that could compete with almost any German competitor. Yet, just like the BMW, it suffered catastrophic depreciation. Part of it was perception. People assumed Jaguars were high maintenance, a stereotype that scared off potential buyers. And part of it was rarity in the resale market. Insurance rates were high, servicing was expensive, and slowly the XJ became a car that people admired from afar, but wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole. Now, here's where it gets exciting. Those who looked past the stigma found the XJ at less than 12% of its original value. A car that originally cost over $90,000 could be bought for under $12,000 in excellent condition. Imagine driving a sedan that turns heads everywhere you go, feels like a luxury limousine, but costs the same as a high-end used Civic. It's a gold mine hidden in plain sight, a lesson in how market perception can create incredible opportunity. Finally, the third car is the 2012 Audi A8. Audi's flagship sedan was meant to compete with the best of the BMW 7 Series and Mercedes S, boasting quattro all-wheel drive, a V8 engine, and interiors that could rival a first-class airplane cabin. On paper, it should have held value, but in reality, it didn't. The A8 depreciated faster than most of its rivals because buyers feared the high systems breaking down and dreaded the repair bills. Even certified pre-owned prices tumbled dramatically, leaving an almost new luxury sedan at a fraction of the cost. Here's the kicker. These cars aren't just bargains for the sake of saving money. They represent an opportunity to own performance, comfort, and status that many new car buyers could never afford. The market ignored them, labeled them too expensive to maintain. And yet, that very fear is exactly what makes them gold mines today. If you had invested in any of these 3 sedans 5 years ago, not only would you have enjoyed one of the most comfortable rides on the planet, but you would also have a car whose value could potentially rise again as enthusiasts recognize the rarity and quality that mainstream buyers overlooked. What's fascinating is the psychology behind it. People overestimate maintenance costs and risk and underestimate the intrinsic value of engineering excellence. BMW, Jaguar, and Audi created masterpieces, and the market's short-term fear created long-term opportunity. If you want a high-end luxury experience without spending a fortune, these 3 sedans are not just options. They are statements of smart buying, insider knowledge, and patience. So next time you see a luxury car that everyone is avoiding, don't just scroll past. Look closer, understand why the masses turned away, and imagine owning something that was once reserved for the elite, but now sits within reach. It's not just about saving money, it's about realizing the hidden potential in markets that others ignore, about spotting the gold mine while everyone else sees only risk. By understanding how depreciation, perception, and market fear collide, you can turn a once luxury car into your personal treasure. These BMW Sechi series, Jaguar XJ and Audi A8, Sedans tell a story not just about cars, but about opportunity, timing, and the rewards of paying attention when others are too scared to act. They remind us that in every market, whether it's cars, investments, or trends, there's value hidden behind fear and ignorance. If you're willing to look past the noise, to research, to inspect carefully, and to embrace what the mainstream avoids, you can own a piece of engineering genius for far less than anyone else would expect. That's the secret behind these true gold mines. The secret that most people never discover until years later when it's too late to act. The key takeaway here is that value is not always obvious, that depreciation is sometimes a doorway rather than a trap, and that luxury doesn't have to mean unattainable. Owning one of these sedans today is like stepping into a rare club, one that rewards curiosity, research, and courage. So next time you hear someone talk about a car losing its value, remember these three models. The BMW Sechi series, the Jaguar XJ and the Audi A8 didn't just lose money, they created opportunity for the people paying attention. And the best part is that these cars are not just relics. They still drive like dreams. They still feel like luxury, and they still carry that sense of exclusivity that makes you feel ahead of the curve. In the end, what looks like a loss to the masses can be a gain to the few who understand the story behind the numbers. If you've ever wanted to own a true luxury sedan without paying luxury prices, these are the cars to study, to seek, and to drive. They are proof that sometimes the smartest investment is not in the obvious, but in the hidden, the overlooked, and the dismissed. And now that you know this, you're already ahead of the crowd. See an opportunity where others see risk, and that knowledge is worth more than any price.